Informative and unpredictable, testing the limits like only we can. From Span Enterprises in Rock Hill, South Carolina, it's The Bandit Room. Welcome to The Bandit Room. I'm Charles, and we're joined today by our special guests, Casey and Dimitri. Thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
All right, we've got a few topics to go through today, starting with the story of, the story of last weekend really was Cam Newton. And he said some things, he apologized for some things. It was close to all of us, because we are here in Rock Hill, South Carolina.
Right.
The Panthers are just down the road, so that's kind of our, basically all of our team, I guess we would say,
Yeah.
and as far as that goes. Thoughts, guys, on what happened?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was great that he apologized, and what I think was even better was that he was quiet about it after he apologized.
Mm-hmm.
He made his statement, and when that came out, something else I really enjoyed that he did was he didn't move on from it. He didn't just make his apology and then no comment
Mm-hmm.
to every interview, every TV opportunity that he had, whereas most athletes or anyone in that situation, I think,
Mm-hmm.
would have just wanted to move on from it. He wanted to keep apologizing every chance that he had, to make sure everyone heard his apology.
Yeah, I think that really helped.
Yeah, for sure.
The
I
fact that
definitely
he
think.
said something, he realized it was a misstep, and then corrected the error. He didn't double
Exactly.
down or anything like that.
Exactly.
He made the correction, and I think that said a lot.
He really wasn't trying to brush it under the rug. Anytime you see now he's in front of the camera, he's still apologizing and bringing it up himself. He's really wants to make sure everyone hears that he is sorry for what he said.
Yeah.
And I think that's very honorable. I think it's great. I think it would be much easier for him to just put it in the past and move on. But he wants to make sure people know he's sorry.
Yeah. By any means, I don't think he meant any disrespect by the comment at
Right.
all. You know, I think it was like a sarcastic, poorly stated joke that
Something that should have stayed in his head.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
I was thinking it was just something, one of those thoughts that you actually don't say, you just, keep inside your thoughts.
Right.
Yeah, because by all means, I don't think he meant any offense by that,
Right.
But I think it really just went way out of proportion. At that moment, I think he just could have just right then and then said, no offense.
I think too it was in today's day and age there's such a when it comes to feminism and female rights, it's such a hot thing right now. It was just probably not the best time to make a statement like that. But realistically, who hasn't? What celebrity or athlete hasn't slipped at the tongue?
Yeah. That's true, and I agree that it didn't sound all that as powerful when you just look at the text of what he said.
Not harsh.
But when you look at the video and you see the
His
smile and the demeanor,
Mm-hmm.
it really did. That's where the condescending part, I think, came out. Was the way his physical,
his body language kind of showed maybe it showed that he didn't have that much respect for women. But again, from my perspective, I felt like he wasn't trying to be condescending.
Right.
Anyway. I think it's just Cam being Cam.
Right.
Type of situation.
It was a bizarre thing for him to say.
Yeah. I mean, you could have easily said reporter instead of female.
Yeah.
If it was
Right.
or somebody who doesn't play football talking about routes. I don't know.
Yeah.
Right.
It may have come off a little differently than using the term female.
I don't know. I personally didn't feel attacked or insulted. I kind of looked at it like when I watched the video back, I was like, whoa. It's almost like you can kind of see that he was doing that in his head. And
it was like, should I say this? Should I not say this? And it kind of just,
came out.
Word
It just came out. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's good. I think the way it was addressed was good. And I think a lot of people could really learn something from the way he handled it.
And that's what he's been saying too.
Yeah. Regardless of if he didn't have the worst intentions, he realized that it did affect people. He lost sponsorships. People were up in arms about it. Just the very sign that people were, a lot of people are offended by it. It's not that the world is just being a bunch of snowflakes.
Right.
People are legitimately irritated by the things he said. So I think it was a good show of maturity on his part to be able to just own it, and apologize for it, and move on from there.
Right, and like I said, he's still owning it. He's really wants to make sure people know, I'm really sorry. You might not have seen my apology, but here I am right now, just casually telling you again, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I think it's great that the way he's handling it.
Yeah. I mean, he did lose some sponsorships because of the comment and everything.
Right.
Because I think
that's
cut
true.
ties with them. Yeah.
I think there was one more too. I can't recall exactly what it was, but
Dan was the big one.
yeah.
Yeah. But you know, I like looking at the topic. I kind of found it, you know, just like, you know, we're really attacking Cam for, you know, what he said, but you know, there are instances where, you know, there are actual sexist comments or, you know, harassment that actual, you know, other female sports reporters go through that are actually swept under the rug, you know.
Right.
So, you know, him making a bad, poor joke, you know, gets this much attention versus, you know, things that really need to be addressed, you know. Where do we go from there? You know, is it just a pick on Cam moment, or, you know?
Right.
I mean, I get it. You know, the comment he said, you know, was, you know, something that shouldn't have been said at all.
Right.
But you know, there are things that should be addressed. I mean, bigger issues like, I mean, through any, you know, event that's going on in the world, bigger issues that need to be addressed. You know,
I think there's
we harp on the little things.
Right. There is a player right now, and this kind of just proves your point. I don't even know. Can't even recall what his name is, but he's being charged for assaulting a female.
Yeah.
You know, like I can't even tell you what his name is, but everyone knows Cam Newton now. He's the one that said that terrible thing about the reporter. But no one's talking about this guy.
Yeah.
But you know, then again, I don't think this is Cam's first offense.
Right.
Of, you know, doing something that, you know,
he's always
is
had
a side eye.
Yeah, he's always had maturity issues.
Yeah,
for sure.
I would agree with that.
He was talented young. He was a young Super Bowl quarterback, and you know, I think with that comes an ego that you can't really get rid of necessarily.
Right.
You know?
He kind of grew up in the spotlight in a sense.
Yeah, true enough. Yeah.
So I think just dealing with that, but
it's been a time of just bizarre behavior from people.
that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
But nonetheless, he apologized though, which was a good thing because, you know, everyone, we shouldn't ever look at someone thinking that they know less than the next person. So I mean, it was a mature thing for him to, you know, apologize for what he said.
I completely agree.
You know,
that wasn't the only football story this weekend. I mean, there was the situation in Indianapolis with the vice president.
Bizarre, just a week of bizarre.
It's just the United States versus the NFL.
Just play football.
Yeah,
just play football.
Just let it be what it is.
That's
so
true.
Well, Charles, you want to let us know exactly what happened?
Yeah. So as you know, the vice president went to Indianapolis to see the Colts play the 49ers, and after some players knelt during the National Anthem, as you know, anybody would have really predicted. I mean, the 49ers started this whole thing when Kaepernick was on the 49ers team of kneeling, and some players kneeled, and shortly after the vice president left the game. In a protest, I guess, as it is to the situation. Now, the vice president's free to come and go wherever he pleases. I mean, it's no one's questioning his motives there, but at the same time, he had to have known that they were going to kneel.
It was certain that they would kneel. It was absolutely certain
Yeah.
that these guys were going to kneel.
So, you know, I mean, the costs involved in transporting a vice president. He was in Las Vegas the previous day, flies in Air Force Two to Indianapolis, and then following that goes back to Los Angeles. So he's going coast to coast twice in Air Force Two. The cost of which they estimate, you know, $42,000 an hour to fly the plane. Wow. So we're saying in excess of $200,000 easy to make this statement, essentially, you know. So is that the most effective use of our taxpayer dollars? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't agree that it is, simply because everyone's aware of what to expect when you go to the NFL. It's kind of like who's going to kneel today, or who's going to stand type of situation. So I do agree that he was aware that that instance would occur because if I'm not mistaken, he was ordered to leave had they taken a knee.
And that's what I was gonna say. Is the bizarreness comes in is that he was told to go and do this and told to leave, and it just bizarre. You know, I just think it was, like you guys said, a complete waste of taxpayer dollars, a complete kind of waste of time for him as vice president. There had to have been something a little more meaningful that he could have
Agreed.
done that day.
Right, exactly. Obviously, he did go the previous day to celebrate. Well, I don't know if it was the previous day or the night before or the day of, but they were celebrating Peyton Manning's career in Indianapolis. They had a statue put up for him and everything like that. So that was another official reason to be there, and they said that was on the schedule. But at the same time, he did, he went to the game with the intention of leaving.
Right.
They told the press pool, wait in the pool. It's probably going to be an early departure. They even told the press not to bother waiting around, just they'll be back in a few minutes.
Even if he was flying there for this ceremony, to go to the game, think of all the security that was involved there to get him into the game, the security that kind of surrounded him while he was at the game. It's just so much. It just seems like a lot of pomp and circumstance for a statement. One that is, we already know Donald Trump and the vice president disagree with.
Right.
It's not like, oh wow, I didn't expect him to leave. Like I didn't know that he felt this way, but it was incredibly predictable.
But some people are happy with this decision. I don't think I'm one of them, based on the sheer amount of money that was involved and having him make that decision. But a lot of people are happy that he did that. Some people they're upset with the NFL right now because of the way, because of the kneeling and all that sort of thing. So it's hard to really justify. Was it worth it to him to spend $200,000 or more to fire his base up a little bit? The 30% or so of the base that's going to support him no matter what.
I think there's a lot of more right-leaning people that would agree with the protest that he made and would disagree with the way it was handled.
Of course.
I think there's more people than not. I happen to be one that kind of, stand for the national anthem. It's kind of where my head is at, but I do not think that this was the most mature way to state your case.
Well, especially coming on the heels of the other scandals within the administration of using government-funded private jets to travel place to place. I mean, Tom Price resigned over it. Steve Mnuchin also has had his share of those government-funded private jets, costing the taxpayers money for their own travel. Excuse me. I think just the optics of it is just bad. Coming on the heels of all of that.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, from just looking at it, it seems like no one's gonna win at this point. So I mean, what do we really do? It's just kind of like a trend that we're following, just to see what are the end results.
I feel like a lot of these NFL guys don't even fully know what they're kneeling for anymore. They're kind of just wanting to join a movement. They're wanting to be a part of something bigger than their career that we pay them millions of dollars in the sport to play.
It's going to be interesting to see how the future of this continues because everybody is in a bad place right now, really. The people that are kneeling, whatever their motives are, as pure as they may be, they have been vilified by one side to an extreme extent that they now view it as these guys are protesting America.
Exactly.
Whereas the original intention was protesting injustice. Social injustice that exists in America, and just to bring that to attention.
It just got overshadowed by social media in general.
The 24-hour news cycle can completely flip.
The
meaning behind something.
But kind of off topic, but not really off topic. I heard through the grapevine that they plan to fine NFL players if they happen to take a knee now. Is that the truth? I may have to look more into that.
I
was just, in the barbershop, we get to talk. So that was just one of the conversations that, came up. So
I feel as though I did hear something about that while my husband was watching ESPN far in the background from me. I feel like I did hear something like that. That was something they were looking to put into play. They're already not airing it on television, the National Anthem, which, I think it's just another thing kind of off topic, but not really. Colin Kaepernick, the kind of guy that spearheaded this whole thing, they stopped airing the National Anthem, which is where him and his fellow teammates made this big stand. They stopped airing it, and I think it was like the day after or the day of, he came out and said he'll start standing again for the national anthem if an NFL team would pick him up. It's just so funny how quickly.
Yeah, I heard that was actually a misinterpretation of
Oh,
something
yeah?
he said. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure. I know it definitely that got out there,
Right.
but I did see some there. I think there was someone from the Kaepernick camp that did correct it, that he did not go that far. I think
Okay.
a reporter had spoken to him, and then he
I would hope he went
said,
Right, because
and
that
went and
was
said
bizarre.
Yeah, it sounded a little
because
bizarre.
it's like, wow, you were really quick
Yeah.
to give up your
But
cause.
people were quick to jump on it. Sarah Palin even tweeted right
Yeah.
after she heard about it that like, oh well, okay, and then posted the
Right.
thing
Well,
about
it makes a little bit more sense knowing that.
Yeah.
It might have been
It
because
wasn't.
I thought that was strange how quick he was to kind of jump ship
Yeah.
just to get back into the NFL.
Just tells you how quickly things spread.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
These days.
wildfire.
How things get interpreted. Yeah, absolutely.
It's interesting.
Hey, well,
Do your thing.
Cool.
I just hope everything, we find some resolve at the end of the day.
Oh, for sure.
Because initially it started out, for social injustice, and it just got totally blown out of proportion. And I just think if we can just get back to addressing the issues at hand, then maybe we can move forward past all
Right.
of, what
Seems
this
like-
has turned into.
Yeah, it seems like no one's having a conversation anymore about what
No.
the reason behind all of this. Everyone just kind of, like you said, vilifies these people, and that's kind of where it ends.
Yeah,
Yeah. So it's hard to build a conversation from that.
definitely.
Definitely
But one definitely needs to be had.
needs to be had.
Yeah.
Open forum.
Something.
Have a debate between
Yeah,
Colin Kaepernick versus who knows?
The nation.
The nation.
everyone.
Simply put, yeah.
What? All right. We pretty much covered that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Covered.
Cool. Well, we'll be back right after this brief message.
Take fleet communication to the next level with TruckLogix, the premier trucking management software. And
we're back. Thanks for joining us. Our last topic to hit is, we recently, some people may have recently celebrated a holiday known as Columbus Day in this country, and I'd just like to talk a little bit about why I think it's a dumb holiday. First of all, nobody gets that as a holiday. You don't get it unless you're a bank or you work at a post office, so it's kind of pointless. It's a stretch to call it a holiday to begin with.
Don't schools have off?
Some schools.
Yeah.
Not all schools,
You're
though.
setting those kids up to be disappointed later in life.
Yeah, they'll learn the real
They'll
ugly truth
learn.
behind
Ugly
that.
truth. You don't actually get that one. It's not a real holiday.
Here's the real story, and you also don't get this day off.
Yeah. But there's reason that it shouldn't be a real holiday, and that's because there's a few facts out there that people don't really realize about Christopher Columbus. A few misconceptions I'd like to clear up a little bit. First, there's a theory that Columbus set out to prove that the world was round. That's not the case. People knew that the world was round since the ancient Greeks. I believe Pythagoras surmised the world was round. Again, the ancient Greeks figured this out. People in 1492, anyone with a serious education would have already realized that the world was round. It wasn't new for Columbus to figure that out. He was incredibly incorrect with his math, thinking that he could get to India and Japan simply by crossing the Atlantic there. But that's another topic. Another thing, Columbus was likely not the first European to reach the New World. Most people surmise that the Norse Viking Leif Erikson landed in present-day Newfoundland around 1000 AD. So he wasn't exactly the first to reach the New World. It's kind of a ways off with that.
Isn't it said that he didn't even make it to the New World?
Right, yes.
So
Didn't I hear that it was like an island?
I guess it depends. It depends on what you consider the New World.
Okay.
The fact that we celebrate him in America is kind of silly because he never actually got to mainland
Right.
the United States. He went to Haiti, went to Cuba, a few of the Caribbean islands, and he did hit a little bit of Central America in his time, I believe present-day Venezuela. So he traveled around, and it was a new world to him, but it wasn't, what we consider America. He didn't discover America, as they say, at least if we're referring to the United States.
All I have to say is this guy's PR team is brilliant, because they got us celebrating a whole holiday about this man who really did nothing.
And not just
that's good for them.
And it's even worse. It's even worse than not quite accomplishing what we act like he accomplished. The things he did accomplish were pretty horrible.
Yeah.
Columbus's governance of Hispaniola could be brutal and tyrannical. Native islanders who didn't collect enough gold could have their hands cut off, and rebel colonists were executed at the gallows.
Yeah.
So this guy, and he had his brothers that actually came and ran the colony with him. It was a brutal, genocide that was taking place.
Jeez.
What they said, the part of his colonization regimen was to make slaves out of the natives who resided in the New World. Genocide expert David Stannard states that in the beginning, Columbus. Let me read that. Let's see. There's an expert here by the name of David Stannard who states that Columbus, along with the Europeans, murdered between 70 to 100 million indigenous people.
Wow.
In his book, American Holocaust, Stannard calls that period of 80 years the longest ongoing Holocaust in the history of humanity.
Jeez.
Yeah, but we're not talking about that in our history.
I don't remember being 5 years old and reading that.
But Columbus, 1492, Columbus.
And they're saying this is the man that founded America.
I'm telling you, that PR team he had.
He had a really good PR team, and a lot of that is due to Washington Irving.
Right. I mean, this is saying that we're honoring someone that was capable or that did this.
Yeah.
So I mean, what does that say for America?
It's like they found out what he was over here doing. They're like, we're not gonna tell that story. Crisis communication.
Yeah, it's crazy. He became a symbol, I guess.
Yeah.
The Washington Irving wrote a book about him, basically kind of fantasizing and glorifying his experiences. And what they did say, that a lot of Italian Americans latched onto that because Columbus was from present-day Italy. And when he came over here, it was just something to give the Italian immigrants, kind of like somebody to look up to. Like, oh, there's somebody, a great explorer who came to America first and all of that. So it's kind of interesting to see, how much something can be sketched.
Yeah. So that means that for years now, teachers have just been blatantly lying to students.
They probably weren't aware of themselves, to be honest.
Yeah, that's also a possibility.
That's true.
But are they even... I mean, because we're talking about it now, are they even considering replacing the holidays?
Some cities have already changed it. Some cities have already said, we no longer recognize Columbus Day, we are now calling it Indigenous Peoples Day. And some cities in the United States are taking the lead and doing that. I think it should probably happen at a national level.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think it's
There's no purpose for that.
It's insane, yeah. I mean, even just cancel the holiday. I'd rather, you
can call it as a regular day.
It already is.
Monday.
Yeah. So it's crazy.
Jeez.
It's just crazy. I mean, Washington Irving wrote a book about Christopher Columbus, the same guy who wrote The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, and it just got, people just latched onto it. And what's a little crazy also is that there are actual, there's tons of cities named Columbus, and there's organizations.
Oh, yeah.
A big one, I think the Knights of Columbus need to change their name.
There's a lot.
It's a charity that actually does good work.
And they're affiliated.
And they name themselves after Columbus. They're the Knights of Columbus. I mean, by definition, that would mean they go around enslaving people. I mean,
right.
It's so crazy.
Who's running that?
It's a great organization. You should probably change your name.
Tip from us.
Free tip.
They made that man a legend.
Yeah, that's true. Good. He's got a good
PR.
Good PR team.
And that's what they should be teaching.
Learn a lot.
College level.
That's true.
PR case study. Christopher Columbus.
That's crazy.
Aren't some cities considering removing the statues in place in honor of him?
There's a lot of petitions that are trying to get statues removed. I know there's a huge one, New York City, Columbus Circle.
Right.
It's like a major intersection. Right. A huge statue of Columbus right in the middle. And yeah, I hear they even had to have police protection.
Yeah, because I, if I'm not mistaken, I've seen some recent photos of some vandalization of one of his statues.
Yeah, I'm sure they're gonna start.
I mean, I don't blame
Wow.
I mean, just
Yeah.
put it in a museum or something.
Yeah,
It's fine.
I
mean-
he is a historical figure.
It's part of history, but I don't think that we should actually honor
We should
Right.
that part of history.
Right.
That's true.
Simply
There's no
because that's
statues
not
of-
what America is built on,
Yeah.
according
Right.
to,
Right.
what.
The founding principles.
Yes, absolutely.
There's no statues of anyone else who committed terrible genocide around the country.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I say it's good. Gotta go somewhere else.
Yeah, I think we're all in agreement that
Yeah.
the holiday should just, void,
Mhm.
honestly.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. All right. Anything else? We good?
No, I
I
think
think
we've
it's
covered
okay.
everything so far here. I
Awesome.
don't have any other input.
No.
All right. Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us today,
Yeah.
guys.
Thanks for having us again.
Thanks for watching. Stick around next week and see what we're talking about.